Good evening, friends. My name is Vishal. Welcome you all to StudyIQ English. Students, in today's class, I'm going to discuss a news that has actually sent down the shiver through the spine of this whole nation. Yes, I'm going to talk about an incident that occurred last week, 21st of August. In this case, a woman was allegedly burned down by her husband. She could not fulfill the illegal demands of her in-laws regarding dowry. Her in-laws frequently subjected her to torture. Cruel treatment was meted out to her. Her in-laws demanded money. Her in-laws demanded luxury vehicles. When she could not fulfill the demand, finally she was poured in with flammable substances and she was burned to death. She lost her life due to severe burn injuries when she was undergoing treatment. Students, in today's class, I'm going to discuss the menace of dowry that still haunts the conscience of this society. In today's class, I'm going to discuss certain important piece of legislations that were enacted by the parliament to ensure that women stay safe, that women do not face such cruel treatment. But we're going to see whether these legislations have they ensured that women stay safe. Today, I'm going to present you with certain dark facts that will depict the true face of this society. And at last, we're going to discuss what can we do as a society to bring down the menace of dowry so that we can protect women, we can protect daughters, we can protect sisters. See, these are the brief facts of the case. I've already narrated the brief facts. Once again, I'm reiterating. A woman, her name was Nikki, 28 years old. So she was living in Sirsa village of Greater Noida. She was apparently married to a person named as Vipin Bhati. And on 21st of August, it is alleged that she was burned down by pouring an inflammable substance on her by her husband in front of her 6-year-old son. The son has given a statement to the police. The son has given statement to the media that he himself has seen his father pouring inflammable substance on his mother and igniting the substance with the lighter. So in this case, a woman was subjected to demands of dowry. She could not fulfill that and she was burned down to death. So she lost her life while she was undergoing treatment. See, now I'm going to present you with certain stark facts. And these facts are released by NCRB. All of us know NCRB, National Crime Records Bureau. So it maintains a database that registers all the crimes that happens in India. It is a database that actually presents a true picture of what crimes or what sort of crimes are happening in this country. So I'm going to discuss the data that has been put forward by NCRB regarding dowry deaths. The women who have died on the ground of demand of dowry. The women who have been subjected to cruelty because she could not fulfill the illegal demands of dowry from her in-laws. In today's class, I'm going to discuss the facts, and on the basis of these facts, we have to form an opinion whether we are going in a right direction as a society, or do we need to bring in a revamp? Do we need to bring in a change and fast enough to ensure that women are protected? They are given adequate opportunities to grow. They are given adequate opportunities to educate themselves. They are given an environment in which they can feel safe. See, the data from NCRB. See, NCRB has given some bone-chilling data. And according to NCRB reports, and I do not need to tell you, this data is severely underreported. All of us understand, all of us know that in India, most of the crimes are never reported, they are never registered. So that means this data is severely understated. But still, this data will help us develop a picture. So according to NCRB, in India, 18 deaths occur every day. Yes, and this in itself is blood-curdling. 18 deaths occur every day just because of dowry, because women could not, or the parents or families of women could not fulfill the demands of illicit demands of dowry. Yes, NCRB states that in India, 18 deaths occur per day. Now there are several states that lead this race. So we have the state of Uttar Pradesh, we have the state of Bihar, we have the state of Madhya Pradesh, we have the state of Rajasthan, we have the state of West Bengal, that in which the highest number of dowry deaths have been reported in at least 5 to 6 years. So I'm going to discuss the data that has been released by NCRB year-wise. So in 2018, we have in total 71,000, or we can say 7,167 deaths just because of dowry. So 7,167 women lost their lives just because they could not fulfill the demands of illicit demands of dowry. Then in 2019, again, the figure is quite similar, 7,141. Then in 2020, we have 6,966, slightly less, but still too much. Then in 2021, the data is 6,753. Again, slightly less, but still too much. And then in 2022, we have the data of 6,450. That means reduction in the numbers. The data is suggesting that the dowry deaths have come down, but still in 2022, 6,450 women lost their lives due to this social menace of dowry. See, and again, I am reminding you that this data is severely underreported. Out of my own experience, I'm telling you the data is underreported. In India, not all of the crimes are reported. And if they are not reported, obviously, they will not be registered with the central database. They will not be registered with the central registry. So that's why I'm telling. And in total, the number is 35,493 in just 5 years. So in just 5 years, from 2018 till 2022, approximately 35,493 women have lost their lives. And this data is underreported. So approximately, according to me, these numbers could be either twice or thrice the numbers that have been shown here. Now, if I talk about the cases that have been registered, so UP leads the case, UP leads the numbers with, in 2022, it has 4,807 cases. Then you have Bihar that leads with 3,580 cases. So now, students, you must have figured out a certain pattern. Especially in North Indian states, nothing against North India, but the data itself is showing that something is wrong with the society of North India, where women are killed just because of dowry, just because they could not, or their parents or family could not fulfill the illegal demands of dowry that the in-laws are expecting. I don't know, why do people expect dowry? Why do people expect dowry? If you are entering into a sacred marital relationship, the marital relationship, it is a bond between two souls. It is a bond between two families. So this bond can be leveraged to develop a healthy relationship. This bond can become a flowering pot where, all sort of flowers can flourish. But unfortunately, this bond sometimes become a poison for the women. And we have seen just in 5 years, 35,000 women have lost their lives. Now, see, students, I want to give you a context. So frequently, I used to wonder, and students also wonder, what was the basis, or what formed the origin of this practice of dowry? When did this practice start? How did this practice start? So I underwent a research. I have read certain reports that are in the form of research that have been conducted by various sociologists, and they are suggesting that in India, the practice of dowry, it's quite ancient. The practice of dowry in India is quite ancient. So this practice initiated in the ancient times. Actually, in those times, women did not have the right to property or right to inheritance in the property of their father. A woman, as they have now, women did not have the right to inheritance in the property of their father. So that means the property of the father was solely inherited by the sons, a single son, or there could be multiple sons. So that's why the fathers usually want to give a certain part of their property to the daughters in the form of dowry. For example, in today's world, suppose a father has a net worth of 50 lakhs. Now, he want to give a certain part of his wealth to his daughter in a form of dowry. So here on, the practice of dowry started, where the father wanted to give a certain part of his wealth to his daughter in the form of dowry, because anyway she was not entitled to inheritance according to the laws that were prevalent then. Now, after the, especially in the case of Hindus, after this Amendment Act in 2005, in Hindu Succession Act, women are considered to have equal rights in the case of inheritance, even in ancestral property. Before 2005 amendment in Hindu Succession Act, women were not provided with any inheritance right in ancestral property, and obviously in case of self-acquired property of the father, women also have equal rights, or daughters also have equal rights when compared to the sons. So now this practice that was started so that a daughter can also have some sort of share in the property of her father. And secondly, the practice also ensured that a family which is having a new member, that means the family of the groom's family, which is having a new member in the form of bride, so they can also get some material support in the form of either cash, in the form of either money, or in the form of any kind. That could be any sort of stuff that can help them out with their marital relationship. So now the groom's family that have a new member as bride, so the groom family obviously got support from the money or from the gifts or the kinds that was given by the bride's family to the groom family. But now, over the period of time, slowly, this practice became an evil practice. So the practice that started with a woman getting right in the property or wealth of her father, now this practice become compulsive. Now this practice became a show of status. Now this practice became a show of status for both of the parties. Yes, the groom's family, obviously, if they're indulging in dowry seeking, they're committing a crime. Even according to law, they're committing a crime. But in certain cases, even the bride's family, they indulge in providing dowry because they want to exhibit the strength, or they want to exhibit the status that they hold in the society. So this status game, this honor game, this pride game has become vicious. So now women are forcefully subjected to bring in dowry. The parents of the girl or the parents of the bride, they are forcefully subjected to bring in some sort of dowry, even if they cannot arrange, or even if they cannot manage. So in multiple cases we have seen the father of the bride, he has to take loans. He has to take debt, either from his the people he is familiar with, or either from his kith or kin. So he has to take money, he has to arrange money so that he can fulfill the demands of the groom's family. Secondly, now I'm going to talk about the legislative framework that governs this practice of dowry, or rather that prohibits this practice of dowry in India. So in 1961, way back in 1961, the parliament was aware. The parliamentarians, they were aware of this evil practice of dowry that is prevalent in the society. So that's why, to curb this evil practice of dowry, they enacted Dowry Prohibition Act. Yes, Dowry Prohibition Act. Now this act criminalizes either taking or giving or abetting dowry. Yes, this act criminalizes either giving or taking or abetting the dowry with respect to marriage, with respect to a marital relationship. So that means if a bride family, if they give dowry in respect to the marriage, obviously the bride family is guilty, they are culprits. If a groom's family, they ask for dowry and they get dowry, obviously they are culprits under this law. And even if a person who abets, so you must have seen these middlemen in India, these middlemen are quite popular. So now these middlemen play a major role in arranging the marriages. So now somehow these people, they are familiar with both the parties, that means obviously the bride's family and the groom's family. So they make them meet each other. So they basically arrange all the things that is required to complete a marriage. Now sometimes the middlemen, they also facilitate the taking and giving of dowry. So that means the law is comprehensive enough. The law is not only punishing the taking of dowry, it is also punishing the giving of dowry. It is also punishing the abetting of dowry. So any person who either indulges in taking or indulges in giving or even indulges in abetting dowry with respect to marriage, that person will be punished with a punishment that is not less than 5 years. So it's a severe punishment. It's a severe punishment. So all of us must be aware that any person who indulges in giving or taking dowry or even abetting dowry, the person can be punished up to a period of 5 years according to Indian law. And the person can also be subjected to a fine of 15,000 rupees. One. Secondly, now even demanding, so section 4 says even demanding dowry in itself is punishable. In first section 3, we have said giving or taking. That means the exchange of dowry has taken place. The exchange of gifts or cash in the form of dowry has already taken place. But in case of section 4, even demanding, that means if the groom's family, obviously it is the groom's family which put forward this demand of dowry. So if the groom's family, if they put forward the demand of dowry, so this act of demanding itself, it is punishable under law. It is punishable under law. So see, if any person demands directly or indirectly from the parents or other relatives or guardian of a bride or bridegroom, as the case may be, any dowry, he shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 6 months. So again, I'm saying just demanding dowry in itself is an offense, whether you do it directly or whether you do it indirectly. I don't know whether you've seen this or not. So when the parties meet for the purpose of making arrangements for marriage, so then the course of negotiations begin. And then people indirectly want to ask something or certain things that they cannot ask directly. I don't know whether have you seen these negotiations or not. So if they cannot ask directly, they ask indirectly. If they cannot ask directly, they usually ask indirectly in such a manner that it does not apparently feel that they are demanding something, or that they are, if I go rather crude, they're begging something. So they want to fulfill their objective, but they do not want to feel like that they are begging or demanding something. So these negotiations of dowry or these negotiations of making arrangement for marriage, they are really, really disturbing sometimes. Moving on. Now we have seen the Dowry Prohibition Act, section 3 and section 4 of Dowry Prohibition Act. Now in BNS or the former IPC, we have a separate section called as dowry death. This was inserted in IPC section 304B because there were a lot of cases in which a woman was tortured. She was tortured after marriage. So obviously the groom's family would have demanded dowry. Now the amount of dowry was not enough to satisfy their greed. So now in most of the cases, it was seen that a woman or a newlywed bride, she was tortured. She was tortured in such a manner that either she used to commit suicide or she was tortured in such a manner that she used to die. She was tortured in such a brutal manner she used to die. So in multiple cases, we have seen a woman she was electrocuted. She was electrocuted. She was tortured with a press. A press that was obviously, obviously it's a heating device. So she was tortured with press. So in most of the cases, it was seen that a woman was subjected to cruelty. She was tortured because she did not bring in enough dowry, and now the in-laws wanted that she shall bring in more money. She shall either bring in money or she shall bring in some property, immovable property, or she shall bring in some sort of, people are demanding luxury vehicles. So there was a case a few months back in southern India. So now in this case, obviously there was a marriage and the father of the bride, he has given hefty dowry that amounted to approximately 4 kgs of gold. He is also given a luxury car. Even after that, the greed of in-laws family was not satisfied. Now they were demanding money in tune of approximately 100 crores for the purpose of setting up a startup of the groom. So now the woman was subjected to torture. Now she was subjected to torture in such a manner that she was driven to commit suicide. So now she wrote a suicide note to her family in which she stated that I love my family, I love my parents, but now the torture that I'm going through, it is becoming unbearable day by day. I cannot bear this torture, so she committed suicide. Now there have been cases in which women are tortured. So that's why, to punish those acts, a new section was inserted in IPC, section 304B, and obviously we have this dowry death, section 80. That means, now what is the dowry death saying? It is saying, if a woman dies within 7 years of her marriage, if a woman dies within 7 years of her marriage in suspicious circumstances, that means she has not died naturally. She has not died by any natural disease. She has not died by accident or any other manner that might seem natural. So if she has died in suspicious circumstances, either through injuries, or she has committed suicide, or through burn injuries, and it is proved in a court of law that she has been subjected to, or she has been harassed for dowry, she has been harassed in relation to dowry, so in that case, the court will presume that the in-laws has committed a dowry death. Again, understand, when section 80 of BNS says, if a woman, she has died within 7 years of her marriage, one, and she has died in mysterious, suspicious circumstances, that means she has not died a natural death, either by a disease or by accident or by any other means, and because of any other reasons. And it was shown that before her death, she was subjected to harassment in relation to dowry. So in that case, the court will presume that the in-laws has caused dowry death. Now it is up to the in-laws to prove that she has died a natural death. Now the burden of proof has shifted onto the in-laws. Now they will prove. अब वो prove करेंगे that she has died a natural death. Now this practice was also, this section was brought in to curb this practice of dowry or dowry death. Because women, the law, or we can say, there were severe reports in which women were subjected to severe torture that led to her death, or that led to their death. So whosoever commits dowry death, the person will be punished with an imprisonment of at least 7 years, and it can also extend to life imprisonment. Life imprisonment. Now these are two sections basically that particularly talk about dowry. We have section 3 and section 4 of Dowry Prohibition Act, and then we have section 80 of the BNS, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Now I'm going to talk about a section which is called as cruelty. You must have heard about section 498A of IPC. You must have heard about section 85 and 86 of BNS. So the language of the section is same, the number is just different. Section 85 simply says, if a husband or his relatives, if they subject a woman to cruelty, they will be punished with a punishment of 3 years. If they subject the women to cruelty, they will be punished with the punishment of 3 years. Secondly, now what is cruelty? What do we hereby understand by cruelty? Now cruelty generally means a conduct of such a kind that will either risk the health, safety of a woman, or the conduct is of such a kind, which is such an abusive conduct, or which is such an exploitative conduct that the woman will be driven to commit suicide. That means she has been mentally tortured. So there is two kind of cruelty. There are two kind of cruelties. One is physical cruelty, second could be mental cruelty. So both of them count within the definition of cruelty. Thirdly, if a woman is subjected to harassment, so as to force her or her parents to get money in return or any sort of property in return. So when a woman is subjected to harassment so as to coerce her, so as to force her or her parents to give the in-laws money or any sort of valuable security or any sort of immovable property or movable property, that would also be considered to be cruelty. So for example, if a woman has been married, now the in-laws started torturing her. They started taunting her that you have not brought in enough dowry. Ask your parents to give more dowry. Ask the parents to give some more money, cash, kind, vehicle, property, and gold, any sort of valuable security or valuable thing. That would also be counted as cruelty. And the in-laws, that means the husband or their relatives. So if the relatives are also involved, not only the husband, if the relatives are also equally involved, in multiple cases it had been seen that the parents of the husband is involved. They are involved. The brothers or even the sisters-in-law of the husband, they are also involved. So any person that is the relative of the husband, and if they are involved in torturing or harassing the woman, married woman, all of them will be subjected to punishment for committing cruelty. Now friends, we have a Dowry Prohibition Act that is quite stringent. We have section 85, 86 of BNS, we have section 80 of BNS. So now we have laws that are appropriately stringent. We have laws that can subject a person to punishment if he commits cruelty on a woman. Then why do we have cruelty? Why do we have the cases of dowry death? So why do we have the practice of dowry or the menace of dowry still looming over our heads? Now, students, it could be societal attitude. So we can just figure out if we have appropriate laws, if we have enough laws, the reason could be societal attitude. So that means society in itself is indulged in giving or taking dowry. The society somehow, due to any reason, the society feels that dowry either shall be taken or shall be given. I told you one reason. The reason is sometimes, obviously, the in-laws of the female, in-laws of the bride, obviously they want dowry because it is bringing them some monetary benefit. It is bringing them cash. It is bringing them property. It is bringing them any sort of valuable property. Sometimes the women family, they are also involved in giving dowry, even if it is not asked for, or even if it is not specifically asked for, because obviously they have to exhibit their status among the society. They have to prove it as a show of strength, a show of status. That this is the status that we have, that we are giving this much of amount to our daughter in her marriage. Thirdly, it has been seen that women, or in case of marriages, women who are not educated as compared to the guy, as compared to the boy, and who are not financially independent. So in that case, the parents of bride, they have to pay dowry. All of you must concur with me. You must have heard these cases even in your life. In case the woman is not educated enough in comparison to the boy, if the woman is not financially independent, so in that case, generally, the bride's family, they have to pay dowry to the groom's family so as to they can get into this marital relationship. So they want to take this, or they want to convince the groom's family to enter into, or to agree to this marital relationship. This could be a reason, or this is a reason. Then it has also been seen that this caste endogamy, now what do we understand by caste endogamy? That means marrying within the own caste, not marrying outside the caste. So this caste endogamy, this practice has somehow receded, especially in urban areas, but even in rural areas, in most part of the country, the practice of caste endogamy still persists. So we have this practice of caste endogamy in which the people do not want to marry outside of their caste. So if they're looking for a boy or a girl for their daughter or their sons, so they will usually prefer the people who are from their own caste. So they will not usually prefer the people who are outside their caste. That's why we have seen that in multiple cases, in case of love affairs between people who are of different caste, we have seen that the parents do not usually agree. Why don't they agree? Because they don't want that their son or daughter shall marry a guy or a daughter who is not of their caste. Because somehow, even if they want to agree, they do not agree because of the societal pressure. Now, when you want to marry within your particular caste, obviously the choices are restrictive. Yes or no? The choices become restricted. Obviously, you have to marry only among the people that are available within your caste. So if they are demanding dowry, what can you do? You have to inevitably fulfill their demand. So that means when you yourself are restricting your choices, you indirectly are trying to promote the menace of dowry. This could be a major reason. According to a research conducted by various sociologists, they have basically stated that in case if the boy or women who are going to enter into a marital relationship, if they know each other before the marriage, so in that case, the chances of dowry comes down. That means in case of love marriages especially, the chances of dowry is very little. But in case of arranged marriages, in which the boy or the groom to be or the bride to be, when they do not know each other, that means the marriage is arranged by the family themselves. So in that cases, still there are high chances that dowry will either be given or taken. So there are multiple cases, so there are multiple reasons, and apart from that, we also have what we can say, a lack of awareness among the society. So society is not even aware that, multiple sections of society are not even aware that dowry is a menace. Dowry is a menace. It is legally punishable. And the punishment is stringent. I've told you. Even giving of dowry is punishable. So there need to be enhancement of awareness within the society. Now young people need to take a lead. The people who are socially oriented, they need to take a lead. Civil society organizations need to take a lead, and they need to conduct awareness programs. If they cannot conduct awareness programs in each and every city, at least they have to conduct awareness programs in college, in university, so that the young generation, they shall be appropriately guided in curbing the menace of dowry. They shall be appropriately guided with respect to the drawbacks of dowry, the menaces or the ill effects that the dowry is bringing in the society, and what torture the women have to face due to the practice of dowry. So in next slide, we're going to discuss certain suggestions or certain measures that can be taken to curb the practice of dowry. See, what can be done to curb the menace of dowry? One thing is, we need to enforce the laws stringently. I told you we have enough laws. We have Dowry Prohibition Act. Obviously, we have IPC or the former IPC or the BNS. So we have laws. So what is lacking then? There is a lack of enforcement of laws. I must tell you, the conviction rate in dowry death cases is pretty low. The conviction rate in dowry death cases is pretty low. It is just about 34%. So that means if 100 cases are filed in case of dowry deaths, approximately 30 to 35% are convicted. That means 65% are acquitted. So that is a low conviction rate. I'm not saying that they are not, all of them are equally guilty. There could be case in which a woman can die naturally also within 7 years of her marriage, but even in cases in which it is quite apparent that the woman has been subjected to torture, cruelty, and she died in reason of that, or she died in furtherance of that, even in that case, due to lack of evidences, the culprits go scot-free. So that's why we need to enforce stringent laws. We need to stringently enforce Dowry Prohibition Act. We have seen videos are coming out of marriages. We have seen videos coming out of marriages in which people are, they are apparently or they are blatantly, they're just trying to exhibit the amount of money they are giving or the amount of money they are taking as dowry. All of us must know that taking and giving of dowry is a crime. It's a legal crime. It's a crime in the eyes of law. So there is no need to put videos, or what I'm trying to say is, so there is no need to exhibit all of these things. How do you stop exhibiting? Obviously, when you don't indulge in all of them. I'm not saying you do it and then do not exhibit them. I'm saying you shall not do it at any cost. So that's why I'm saying we need a stricter enforcement of laws, anti-dowry laws. Secondly, increase awareness through public campaigns. Obviously, I told you, civil society organizations, they have to take a lead. Young people, the people who do not believe in this menace of dowry, the people who do not believe in this menace of dowry, the people who have been given appropriate education, the people who are progressive, the people who understand that women have to face a lot, they have to suffer a lot because of this menace of dowry, they need to take a lead. The young people like you, educated people like you need to take a lead. So you have to conduct awareness programs. You need to conduct awareness programs with young population as well as the middle-aged population to make them aware of the ill effects of dowry on the society. Thirdly, economic empowerment. This is the most important measure that need to be taken. Economic empowerment. It is somehow happening, but the speed needs to be fastened up. Economic empowerment of women through education and employment, and a societal shift towards gender equality. Now, this is important. I told you, research shows in case a woman is educated, in case a woman is financially independent, so in that case, the probability of giving of dowry, it substantially reduces. Obviously, when a woman is independent, she is educated. Now, there is no concerning need to marry her anyway, because she can survive on her own. She is educated, she is financially independent. Now, her parents, they're not in a sort of hurry to just marry her. So that's why there is no need to give dowry. So that's why I'll say that women empowerment need to take place. Education of women need to take place at par level with men. Women need to become financially independent. Women need to become socially independent, and you will see the menace and the practice of dowry dropping down. Abolition of restrictive social practices like marrying within the same caste, through which widens marriage choices. Now again I'm telling you, this caste endogamy, this restricts the choices of the families. Now even if they don't want to give dowry, even if they don't want to take dowry, obviously this, because they do not have much choices, they themselves have restricted the choice of bride or either groom. So when they do not want to go out of their caste, now if they have to marry within their caste, obviously, and if the demand of dowry comes in from the other side, they inevitably have to submit to the demand. So that's why it is important that this regressive practice of marrying within the caste, it need to go down. It is going down, but it need to go down at a very fast rate. Next, increase community engagement to challenge deep-rooted traditions. Again, I'm telling you that the community need to realize, the community through sustained efforts need to realize that the traditions of dowry, though it has roots in ancient society, but now the society has changed. Now the worldview has changed. Now our approach and mindset is changing at a very fast rate. So that's why in today's world there is no need of dowry. You do not have to. And one more reason why this practice of dowry just hung on was this erroneous presumption, or this erroneous perception that somehow a boy is superior and a woman is inferior. This erroneous presumption that a boy is superior, a woman is inferior. So that's why if you have to marry a woman to a guy or a man, so you have to contribute somehow in terms of money. So this erroneous presumption has to go. And it is obviously this presumption or perception, it is just dissolving. So it is dissipating, but still it need to go down. Need to understand, nobody is superior, nobody is inferior. We are obviously, all of us are creation of nature. Obviously we have our roles to play. A woman plays as equal as role as a man plays. So in the scheme of things of nature, woman is equally important as man. A man is equally important as women. So when you just take down these perceptions in which a woman is thought to be inferior to man, now you have to, even if you have to marry her, obviously you have to contribute something in the form of dowry. When this perception will go down, obviously you will see the need to take dowry or give dowry, it will go down. So what do we need? We need a change of mindset. We need sustained awareness programs. We need women emancipation. We need women education. We need financial independence for women. We need to develop a society in which women feel safe. We also need stricter enforcement of laws. And we need to bring bring in a mindset in which a person who is either seeking or giving dowry, that person shall not be seen with respect in the society. Yes, I'm using harsh words, but that is the reason. Because all of us know the societal pressure makes us do a lot of things. So when a person who knows that if he either demands or either gives dowry, and if the people get to know about it, so obviously he'll lose respect among the people. So that one factor, obviously, it will lead to curb down this menace of dowry. So we need to change our mindsets. We need a stricter enforcement of law. We need to conduct special awareness programs. We need to educate and empower women. And trust me, the practice of dowry will come down. We'll be able to save the lives of women the innocent women who are subjected to torture, who are subjected to cruelty, who are subjected to barbaric cruelty. And we have seen in this case, and may we pray that all of us pray that the soul of Nikki rest in peace, and we all pray that justice be delivered in this particular case. Because with that much of evidence, because I've already told you that the 6-year-old guy or the son of the victim has already stated in front of police that he has seen his father pouring inflammable substances on her mother and just igniting her up. So we have enough evidences in this particular case. We expect the Honorable Judiciary of this country take cognizance of this case and ensure that justice be delivered. So we pray that the soul of Nikki rest in peace, and we also pray that society revamps its mindset. The society changes its mindset so that we do not have more cases of Nikki. We do not have more Nikkis in a society who are subjected to cruelty, who are subjected to barbarity just for few bucks of money, or just few sovereigns of gold, or some sort of immovable property. So students, I'll wind up this class on this note. I'll meet you again with a new topic. We'll have a detailed discussion on that particular topic. Till then, take care of yourself. Jai Hind.